The Bitcoin is a great unifying uh, thing for all people and
Yeah.
humanity because it solves a lot of things. You can travel with it. I can go anywhere in the world now with Bitcoin, and I can use it. I can get to place point A to point B. I have a store of wealth. That's inflation proof, so it
Hmm.
gives me some sense of property and self sovereignty. It's obviously growing quite rapidly. The adoption is growing. Level two is growing. Countries like El Salvador are making it legal tender. So I think this is what the great story in the 2023, 2024 is going to be. A lot of people just moving to El Salvador
Right.
because they want to live in a country that respects happiness, pursuit of happiness, property, individual sovereignty, with a president who is absolutely perfectly happy just doing stuff that you want your president to do: build infrastructure, uh, you know, uh, take reform pensions so that they
Mm-hmm.
make sense. Like he just does common sense stuff. But and we live in a world where common sense is seen as an
It's
unbelievable
radical.
act of revolution. It's like, what's he doing? He's doing like common sense stuff. Okay, on top of
Yes.
that, he is also a very dynamic leader, and he's inspiring, and he has great ability to talk and to I hearken back to John F. Kennedy, who
Hmm.
famously asked people to think about what they could do for their country.
Mm.
And it gave rise to the Peace Corps, and it gave rise to a whole youth, as they used to call it, movement, which was unique, really, for I
Hmm.
think the past 50 or 60 or 70 years. I don't think we've seen really anything like that. So there's certainly that element to it. So, but people are going to be moving here. I
Yeah.
think there's just going to be a huge wave of people. If 80 or 90,000 people are going to go to, a festival in the desert in the middle of nowhere, I forget the name of that festival,
Burning Man.
Burning Man.
Yeah.
Like, think about 80,000 people go to Burning Man to get 3 or 4 days worth of consciousness raising human experience. Well,
Yeah.
why not just move to El Salvador and have that every day of your life for the rest of your life? You know, you don't need to go to Burning Man. Just move here. This is the perpetual Burning Man.
That is the sales pitch, I think, for El Salvador right there. Permanent Burning
Could
Man.
be this permanent Burning Man right here in El Salvador. For $200, you're here.
I love this. I haven't thought about Bitcoin in this way through the lens of art, but one thing I have thought about is like each individual is their own masterpiece in a way, right? That's what we're all doing. We're alive, creating our lives. That is, you can't not be an artist in that way, right? You have to create yourself. Um, so Bitcoin maybe is something that really empowers that process of self-authorship or self-creation, um, just by just by liberating you from the actions of others or oppression of the state or whatever your use case is. So that's fascinating to me. Um, okay, I want to talk about El Salvador. So you taken up residence there, and then I've seen on your profile, I don't know if this is you tweeting or someone else, but they described El Salvador as the financial center for hyper Bitcoinization. I know there are some volcano bonds being issued, some reform to El Salvador's digital securities laws. I think for consumer protection related to shitcoins and things like that. Like it all sounded really good. Um, National Bitcoin Security Office. I know you're instrumental in a lot of this. So could you just, I mean, you've already given us the ultimate sales pitch for El Salvador, but maybe you could just tell us a little bit about what's going on down there from a legal standpoint.
Yeah, we're residents here, Max and Stacy, and so we, picked up and we live here, and so it's there's a lot of folks that are working to not only make Bitcoin legal tender, which was done by the president in September of 2021, but to also bring in some additional legal parameters and frameworks to allow for a securities industry to grow, which would be on top of a Bitcoin. So it's a Bitcoin foundation with Bitcoin securities on top. And that law actually was just passed today. So the historic day.
Mm.
The Bitcoin, this new securities law just passed today. So this is a moment where all of the momentum and the goodwill of making Bitcoin legal tender is now carried into the securities markets as we know them. Additionally, the law stipulates pretty much what has been said by others, but no one's really acted on it. And that is that Bitcoin is money. Everything else has to be, you have to be considered as potentially a security. They have to go see
Mm,
the securities regulator.
mm,
So this is what Jay Powell has said, and a few other people have said, not Jay Powell, but a couple of other people have said this. Oh yeah, Gary Gensler. So this is now law. This is now the case. So President Bukele has really taken the first mover advantage once again, not only making Bitcoin legal tender, but introducing these new security law that makes this differentiation between Bitcoin and everything else. So this
mm.
will minimize, if not eliminate, the presence of all the bad actors and the shitcoins that
Yeah.
really have no place to anywhere. Really, they're not. One thing I think people are coming to realize in the end of 2022 and 2023 is that there was no use case for any of these shitcoins. They were
Mm,
only there to steal your Bitcoin or to bamboozle people. There's no
mm-hmm.
point in any of them. And so now with this legal framework in place, there's a way to make that clear. Then there'll be, I guess, equivalent of an SEC type of organization that will be actually drafting more formally the laws around that. Then there's the Bitcoin office, which is designed pretty much to be a point person, if you will, the point where the interaction between anyone coming into the country,
Mm-hmm.
they would have a place to interact and get up to speed quickly in terms of is this the is the place I should be or maybe
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be, and so that's in place, and so a couple of other pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Yeah, I'm um, offering my help in any way I can. Stacy, my wife, is really made this a big part of her life, and she's really made it a mission to just do absolutely exhaustive kind of 360-degree breakdown of every possible aspect to how Bitcoin would interact in this economy, and try to create ways to make it as smooth as possible and make it as scalable as possible. And great things are happening. Um, so that's kind of where we are with formalizing and pushing forward different parts of this of the Bitcoin agenda. And of course, it's all inspired by the president, who has
Mm-hmm.
really gotten, I think, people to think outside of their comfort zone and think about, you know what, how do we make uh, orange pill country? How do we make the Bitcoin citadel
Mm-hmm.
nation? What do we want? How do we do it? And so that's what we're doing.